Hey, how are you? This is Rich from Tennessee Homestead. Time to have a little barn chat. Now, first, I know I usually have my barn chats on Mondays, and I tried to pretty religiously keep to that. What I'm finding is, folks, is the homestead's obligations, things I've got to try to get done on a day-to-day basis, is going to pretty much keep me from making it every Monday. Okay, just that simple. And this Monday, and I'm sure any of you that love good desserts can understand the reason for this, I was out picking blackberries. And I'm kind of scanning around the place for James. Say I got my barn cleaned back up again, James. And over there is the incubators. You can see this room's pretty open to ambient air temperatures, and that thing, oh Lord, those temperatures got up into the 105 degree category. Didn't do too well on the incubation. Had 3 eggs hatch, and had a black copper moran, a Australorp, and one lavender Orpington hatch from this. The butt kicker is the lavender Orpington was that little thing had all kinds of problems and issues and barely got out of its shell, and it didn't make it. It lasted about 24 hours and expired. So I'm really kind of I can't tell you how angry I am at myself for not using a little forethought on this, and those little birds paid the price. Anyway, 2 of them are very healthy, happy, and doing good. So, you know, that's something. That's something. What I want to talk to you about today is getting out in the pastures, because yesterday I went out to pick some blackberries because my wife told me that while she was out of town, if I'd gather up a bunch of blackberries, and when she got back, she'd start doing up some desserts and put them in the freezer. And it's like, well, that sounds good to me, because when it comes to, you know, blackberry cobblers and strudels, and she does all kinds of stuff with the blackberries, I'll tell you, folks. And plus, we're just about out of blackberry jam and blackberry preserves, so, you know, I went out and went to picking. So, now, before anybody jumps up and down and goes, oh my God, using insecticides is not organic, okay? Well, I don't plan to plant myself, and I don't plan to plant any of my animals out there, and those are about the only 2 things that get any insecticide used on them. Now, let me bring you up to speed on this. I have used this stuff like the deep woods off and all that kind of thing, and to be quite honest with you, I have got a wasp just trying to buzz me. I must be close to his nest or something. Anyway, and the stuff just didn't work. You know, you'd go out there in these pastures and you'd come back with ticks and chiggers and all kinds of fun things on you after you totally hosed yourself from head to toe on the thing with these over-the-counter stuffs. So I was talking to a couple of guys down there, and they said, well, you use Parethion on your animals, don't you? I said, yeah. They said, well, spray close down with that. That'll keep them off you. And so I tried that a few years back, and son of a gun, it works. Okay, let me show you what that stuff is. And I'm not even sure I pronounced it correctly, so I'm going to show you the bottle here, and y'all can figure it out. Promethean, tin is what they call it. They call it the livestock and premise spray. Okay, that right there is my water-based mix that I use on the dogs and me, and if I'm spraying down the bedding on the chickens areas and things of that nature, that's what I'll use. And I mix it up a little lighter than what they recommend as far as the amount of chemical per gallon of water. Anyway, I use this and it's really good stuff, folks. I mean, it does a good job. And I don't have any sponsorships or any reason to plug these folks. It's just a good product. Anyway, I've not ever had any side effects from it. I check myself on a regular basis to make sure I'm not growing a second head or anything like that. But you know, it seems to work. You know, am I a researcher and doctor and so forth? No. Are a lot of folks down here that farm in the South using this and using it to spray down their clothes? Yeah, they are, because it does keep the ticks and things of that nature off you. It definitely takes care of the horseflies. Horseflies leave you alone. And let me tell you something. When you're out in the pasture down here in the summertime, I'm telling you what, we got horseflies down here. You can throw a saddle on a ride. I just shooed one off of Charlie Brown here a few minutes ago. That thing was a good 2.5 inches long. These are some horseflies, let me tell you. So, and when they decide to light into you, they're going to draw blood and draw it quick and hard. And the animals, they just torment them. Okay. So, anyway, that's what we use. We use Perithian on the things like the cattle rubs and bullets and stuff like that. And we also, like if I've got, I usually wear some combat fatigue pants when I go out in the fields. Couple of reasons. I can pull tight the drawstrings on the bottom, keep them tight up against my boot. I spray my boots down real good with it. I do not spray the stuff on my skin. Some guys say they do. I don't. Never found the need to, because if I keep my boots coated good, my pants coated good, no problems with it. You can spray this stuff down, let your clothing dry. I usually, like if I'm going to know I'm going out into the pastures like I was going to do yesterday, I'll take my pants out and stuff, and shirt, whatever I'm going to wear. And when I'm talking about spraying it down, folks, I'm not talking about hosing it till it's soaked. I'm talking about take a sprayer and just mist over the clothing, you know, try to get every area covered and let it go. You don't have to soak it down. It's the residue and the smell and so forth that repels the insects. Okay? So, if you're one of those folks that seem to be allergic to just about most things, you might want to, you know, dab a touch on your ankle or something and see if you'd all of a sudden develop a rash or sprout a second head. So, you know, if you're susceptible to allergies and so forth, or have a weak immune system, you know, like I said, I'm not a doctor. I don't even play a doctor on TV, okay? So I'm not going to tell you the stuff is 100% safe. I'm telling you that a lot of folks down here use it. They spray it on their clothes when they get out in the pastures, and I've used it for about 3-4 years now doing that, and I've never had a problem with it. So might be something you might want to consider. Okay, and yes, it is a pesticide, but like I said, cut the dosage in half and use it more as a repellent. Now, when I spray my livestock, I use a full dose. Let me give you a heads up on something here. They recommend you use mineral oil to mix it with, or diesel fuel, and diesel fuel is the primary thing that most folks use to mix this with. You can also use water, and as you can see, this container here, the mixture is still milky white throughout it, just like the day I mixed it. It mixes very well with water and doesn't separate. If you do, after a while, notice a little separation, you just shake the sprayer around and it'll mix right back in again. So it's very easy to do, and very easy to spray yourself down. And keeps the bugs off you, keeps the horseflies off you. And let me tell you something, if you have cattle and you're out in their pasture, they have to come over to see what you're doing. It's just the nature of the beast. They have to. They can't control themselves. And while they're there, they'll want to get their head scratched and so forth. So you are going to be exposed to the horseflies, folks. And even though you put ear tags on them and spray them down and they have a rubs up and you do all the things you do to try to keep horseflies off of them, the horseflies follow the animals around. Now, landing on them and biting into them may be the last thing that horsefly ever does, but they're very persistent little critters. Okay, that's Peruvian. That's one of the things that you can do to get out in the fields and like pick blackberries. Now the scary part is I picked 2 gallons of blackberries. Only cost me about 2 quarts of blood, and I didn't move more than probably from where I started 10 foot either direction. And then I started looking around, and I got about 3 miles worth of blackberry bushes along perimeters. 3 miles, folks, of blackberry bushes around perimeters. And guess what? They're loaded, just loaded. I think the birds around here and other assorted little wildlife is really going to eat good, because there is no way I'm going to get all that picked. Not going to happen. Forget it. Not even going to get close to it. So, anyway, little Peruvian. Put a bucket over your head, and here you go. I've got a little, like, well, it's actually a computer bag strap that I use on a drywall, old drywall bucket, joint compound bucket. And you just kind of throw that over your shoulder, and off you go. And that leaves your hands freed up and so forth. You will notice I didn't post any videos Rich picking blackberries. There's a reason for that. It takes 2 hands, period. One to try to keep thorns from pilfering that, to tearing the hide right off the arm. You're reaching in there to grab those right berries. And that's the main reason for no recording picking blackberries. I don't have a GoPro or any of that kind of nonsense. I got a very little cheap LG camera that's all I got, folks, and that's what I'm running with. So, and and you can tell by the high quality videos, right? Anyway, I know, it's pathetic. Anyway, that's all I got from this one. Like I said, yeah, it's a pesticide, but honestly, in checking with the state and so forth, livestock sprays and so forth are not deemed anything to, if you were a certified organic, to keep you from maintaining your certification. They do understand that horseflies on these animals just are terrible. They really are. I've had cows come up drinking out of a trough and just be bleeding all around their neck and on their back and so forth. It's kind of sad to see. These things really chew them up pretty bad. So you're allowed to use that to try to keep your animal from being chewed on day and night. So anyway, if anybody's ever had a horsefly chasing them around trying to chew on them, imagine being out there as a cow or a goat and having 10 or 15 of them all over you. It makes for a miserable kind of life. So we do use this, and it works out well for your animals, for like your cows and so forth. Especially if you're using rubs. Now I will go ahead. I don't mix with diesel fuel. I do mix with mineral spirits for the, not mineral spirits, mineral oil, for applying to the animals like goats and cattle and so forth. I use water on the dogs, mainly because the dogs are always rubbing up against humans, and the last thing you want to be is in a decent pair of pants that all of a sudden have this oil streak down the side of your leg where the dog come up and run up against you. So we do use the water on the dogs. The water mix leaves an indivisible residue that is not a big problem. So, and it does a great job on the dogs. When I sprayed Molly this last round, she had 2 huge ticks on her. I mean, these dudes were ready to drop off. They were that full. And a bunch of little ones. And gave her a quick hose down with the Promethean. And, the following morning, she was tick-free. Didn't have any fleas or ticks or anything. So it works well. So that's something to consider. It's available at most farm supply houses, so forth. This particular little container here, I call it my dog stock. It's very small. It'll do that tank a couple of times. For the cattle, it comes in a lot larger size. That size right there runs about $5-6 bucks. I think the larger sizes are close to 30. So, you know, if you're doing livestock, go that route. If not, that works real well. And like I said, it can keep them off of you too when you're out in the pastures. But like I said, I'm not as bold as some of my neighbors. I do spray my pants down, whatever I'm going to wear out there, shirt and pants. And like I said, I don't hose them down to where they're soaking wet. I just mist over them with the sprayer, enough to put a little residue down. I let that dry overnight, and then the following morning when I get dressed, I put them on. And it does real well. And then, of course, I spray my boots wet as I get ready to head out. So that's what I do down here to kind of stay bug-free while I'm out there in the pastures. You might be able to use that idea, but like I said, especially if you have problems with allergies, you might want to go slow and check it out. Alrighty, this is Rich at Tennessee Homestead. Hope this finds you having a great day. And yes, James, I cleaned the barn. I couldn't stand it anymore, man. It was really getting the best of me. And hopefully it'll be a while before oh, yeah, that's something I want to tell you about. See that there? My wife got some, she works at a trucking company. And their OS&D department got a throwaway order on about a pallet of very, very expensive commercial exterior paints. And these are kind of I believe she said they were like a tan color, light tan. And she knows wanting to paint the barn. And so she brought these two home. And she was laughing. She says, you know, the retail on this stuff, she says, especially for that PPG stuff down there, she said that you're looking at about a $400 $5-gallon bucket full of paint. And I said, you have got to be kidding me. She said, no, stuff is just horribly expensive. And they had one that was busted, and they took one of their other containers that they use for transferring fluids into that are damaged and leaking. And so they filled me up another 5-gallon bucket of the stuff. So, man, I got 10 gallons worth of top-notch barn paint for free. I like that price. So let's get sad getting the stripping on the barn, and because you see all this, that I want disappeared. And I'm going to use little 2.5-inch strips, kind of a batting board kind of thing to close up this barn. And then I'm going to break out the paint sprayer and get after it. So, yeah, pretty good deal. Just what I needed, another project. I don't know if this is a good idea or not. Alrighty, folks. Anyway, that's Rich at Tennessee Homestead. Hope this finds you having a great day. And like I said, these barn chats are going to be coming in probably different days of the week because, to be quite honest with you, I love y'all to death, but sometimes work's going to have to come first. Okay? So, I'll talk to you folks later. Bye.